talk about the effects of Roe versus Wade being overturned. So essentially they left it up to the states. And some states have kept women's rights in place, and others have negated them under the pretext that they love babies. Well, let me just say, it's better in Gilead in my book, because in Gilead they really do love babies.
Now I'm awake.
You girls will serve the leaders and their barren wives. You will bear children for them.
The case began in Mississippi, with a law banning most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. The state challenged the foundation of Roe, arguing that abortion was not explicitly protected by the Constitution. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, agreed. Justice Samuel Alito wrote that Roe had been egregiously wrong from the start. The court returned the power to regulate abortion to individual states, fundamentally altering the balance between federal authority and state power.
You know, I actually love it whenever I see a female saying that she's voting for Zohran Mamdani, and remembering back when all of these women were so mad that Trump overturned Roe v. Wade and gave the decision back to the states, they were saying that they feel like they're living in a Handmaid's Tale. Okay? You guys ought to understand that the makers of the Handmaid's Tale had it take place in the United States so that we could actually understand it better. It was actually based off the Islamic Revolution in Iran. You know, like where Sharia law was put into place. And now you're gonna go vote for someone who holds the same beliefs as these countries that don't allow women to speak, drive, vote, go to school, show their face. But you have it bad here. Oh, not to mention, he's also pictured with the unindicted co-conspirator from the World Trade Center bombings of 1993. Since you guys want to accuse Trump of automatically being guilty when it comes to Epstein since he's pictured with him, could be. So could Mamdani. Just saying.
For many, this ruling was not an abstract legal argument. It was intensely personal. Clinics in some states closed immediately, while others saw a surge of patients traveling from across the country. Women, particularly those in low-income or rural communities, faced new barriers to health care. Choices once considered a right were now dependent on the state you lived in. For some, it was a moment of relief. For others, a moment of profound loss. The ruling starkly exposed a nation divided, where geography could determine the fate of your body, your health, and your life.
Imagine an abortion ban so radical that even anti-abortion groups have lined up to denounce it. Senate Bill 323 may be the most draconian abortion legislation to advance in the post-Roe v. Wade era. The bill would equate abortion with homicide and allow patients to be prosecuted with sentences up to 30 years in prison, a first for the country. Under the bill, mere possession of any abortion-causing medication would be illegal. So would sharing information about how to get an abortion, for instance, via a website or a telephone hotline. Doctors would also face increased penalties of up to 30 years behind bars. But even mainstream anti-abortion groups have expressed concern about two provisions in particular. The idea that abortion patients could be prosecuted, and that crisis pregnancy center workers could be forced to give evidence against their own clients who choose to terminate their pregnancies. Learn more about the bill and who's for it and against it by checking out Nina Martin's report at motherjones.com.
Dobbs did more than overturn a precedent. It sparked a nationwide conversation about constitutional rights, privacy, and the role of government in personal decisions. Politically, it reshaped campaigns, court nominations, and legislative priorities. Socially, it ignited protests, debates, and deeply felt conversations in homes and communities. The ruling forced Americans to confront a simple yet profound question: what freedoms can we count on, and who decides them?
The Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June 2022. 19 states have banned or severely restricted abortion access. According to the Gender Equity Policy Institute, mothers living in states with abortion bans are nearly twice as likely to die during pregnancy, childbirth, or shortly after, compared to those states where abortion is protected. But, and this is a big but, the dangers of pregnancy in America did not begin with Dobbs, and they do not end at state lines. Despite being one of the most developed nations in the world, the United States has the highest maternal mortality rate of any high-income country, with Black women suffering a 3 times higher mortality rate than other American women.
Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization is a moment that will echo through history. It is a reminder that the law is never static, that the rights we take for granted can be challenged, and the consequences are deeply human. In a nation divided by law and belief, one thing remains clear. The debate over choice, justice, and equality is far from over.